It was a dark and stormy night, and my friends and I had decided to spend the evening at one of our houses. We had all heard the rumors of a Ouija board in the basement and were eager to give it a try. We knew that it was probably just a silly game, but the thrill of the unknown made it all the more exciting. As we descended the creaky staircase into the basement, we could feel the tension building. The room was dimly lit, and the only sounds were the soft whispers of the wind outside and the occasional creak of the old house. We had brought a flashlight to guide our way, but it did little to ease the eerie atmosphere. We finally found the Ouija board, tucked away in the corner of the room. It was an old wooden board, with the letters of the alphabet, numbers, and yes and no written on it. There was also a small planchette, a triangular piece of wood with a small glass window in the center. We set the board up on a small table and took our seats around it. One of my friends, who had brought the board, took charge and began to explain the instructions. She told us to place our fingers lightly on the planchette and to ask it to spell out a name. We all did as we were told and waited anxiously for something to happen. At first, nothing happened. But then, suddenly, the planchette began to move. We all watched in awe as it spelled out the name Emily. We were all confused, as none of us knew anyone by that name. We decided to ask the Ouija board more questions, but it only spelled out gibberish and nonsensical phrases. As the night went on, the Ouija board seemed to become more and more active. The planchette began to move on its own, spelling out words and phrases that were increasingly disturbing. We began to feel uneasy and started to wonder if we had made a mistake by playing with the board. Suddenly, the lights went out, and we were plunged into darkness. We all screamed and panicked, unsure of what was happening. We heard strange noises coming from the basement, and we could feel something cold and clammy brushing against our skin. We realized that we had to get out of there, and fast. We stumbled blindly through the darkness, trying to find our way out of the basement. We could hear something following us, but we couldn't see what it was. We finally made it to the stairs, but as we started to climb, we felt something grab onto our ankles and pull us back down. We screamed and fought, but it was no use. We were trapped in the basement, with whatever was down there with us. We huddled together in fear, not knowing what to do. Just as we thought it was all over, we heard a voice. It was coming from the Ouija board. Leave now, and never return. We didn't need to be told twice. We bolted out of the house and didn't look back. We never spoke of that night again, but we all knew that something had followed us out of that basement. We had played with a Ouija board and had summoned something that we could never unsummon. To this day, I still have nightmares about that night. I can still feel the cold, clammy touch of whatever was in that basement, and I can still hear the voice of the Ouija board, warning us to never return. I will never forget that scary night at my friend's house with a Ouija board in the basement.